Hi, my name is Gabby.
And I'm Margaret.
And we're senior paralegals at Tsang and Associates. Today, we're going to be sharing with you about a case that we worked on that recently got approved.
Yeah, and this was an I-751 waiver. It actually started as an I-751 joint petition, but we had to work on getting it converted. So initially, the client scheduled a consultation with Joseph. And during that consultation, I remember I was listening in. She was very scared. She had initially filed a joint petition on her own. And from her understanding, she thought that she just had to submit a couple photos and maybe like a letter from 2 or 3 friends. So understandably so, she did end up receiving a notice from USCIS that was requesting more evidence and really didn't feel like she had enough documents to prove her case. So during that consultation, Joseph did kind of give her a little bit of relief, sharing more about the process and giving her ideas about other documents that she could submit.
I think there is a kind of a misconception when it comes to a removal of conditions. A lot of people think, well, I already have a 2-year green card and now I just need to kind of like let them know that we're still living together, and they send one document showing a common address. It essentially is sending more documentation to prove what has happened during the last 2 years after the first green card was approved. So a couple pictures and a few documents is not going to usually work. So in this case, the government was questioning the legitimacy of the marriage if they were even still together. The truth was the husband had already abandoned our client. They didn't have a lot of documentation together. Their marriage was not common just because the husband was experiencing some issues with drug abuse. So the husband decided to move out of where they were living together and now going back to his home state to get some help from his family to recover from the addiction that he was experiencing. We need to be very creative and strategize in such a way that the client can feel comfortable giving us evidence and documentation and helping them think outside the box. And I think that's the most important thing that we do with our clients is, kind of like put ourselves in their shoes and see, okay, what is it that we can get to prove that this is real?
Initially, the client was sort of blocking herself, thinking about all of the things that she didn't have. But the more that as her caseworkers, we dug in deeper, we got to know her better. And she sort of started to, I think, maybe feel more comfortable and reveal more confidential parts of like their intimacy. She did experience a lot of hardship just because he was, in the process of dealing with all of these addictions. And she did have a lot of proof to show everything that she had done to support this man that she really loved. I remember that she had notes from her therapist talking about all of like the mental hardships that she was going through and how much of an emotional toll it had taken on her. She had also gone through a pregnancy and a loss within this relationship and didn't have that support from her spouse because, again, he was battling his own addiction. So again, even though she didn't have any commingling of financial assets, which is usually something really important for these cases, she did have to supplement that with other things. So we showed affidavits, some notes from her therapy, pictures of them together. And then because he was often in and out of rehab, they also did have a lot of letters, which really showed like how much love they had for each other.
I think when you talk about like the reality of the raw parts of a relationship is more so like showing your heart for that person, right? Like it's no longer like a document or a paper or like a bank account where both of your names were in it. Is more so like, how were you committed to that person in such a level that you basically lose yourself for that person, right? And that's what we saw, like when, talking to the client, we get to see those parts of a person and it gets really, really, really intimate. And just being able to like connect with your client at that level helps you understand a little bit more. So it's no longer, like I said, a piece of paper. Marriage certificate shows 2 people are now joined in marriage. Yeah, but what does that really mean? When you are trying to build the evidence, it's good to understand, the beginning, the middle, and then the end, so that the officer sees the whole trajectory of the relationship.
The reason the struggle is important is to give context, because without that context, the case will have a lot of red flags. So for us, preparing a case and giving all of these details, we basically want the officer to feel confident, to have all of the pieces to be able to make a favorable decision. As you're going through the documents, you like you can relate to a lot of different things, even, you know, her husband, like you kind of see the struggles of each person. But it's definitely like, I think in our department, we deal with a lot of like very sympathetic cases and real people going through hard things.
But we do it with so much love. And I think every case is unique in that, you know, that we can use our abilities and, you know, like what we have learned and what we know to help these people get out of those situations.
So in this case, we had responded to the RFE within about a month after she hired us. And then we waited about 4 to 5 months. And she got the approval notice without an interview just in November, I believe.
Yeah, November.
Yeah. So she was really happy. I think she literally was like, is this real? You know, something along those lines, because she had been through a lot of stress, kind of going through all of that, but also just not being able to travel peacefully because she was in sort of limbo. So it was just really nice because it was like right before the holidays. So to be able to get that outcome was pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what's like the best thing of our profession is that we get to see that end goal and we get to see that other side, that it really is greener on the other side after this happens, at least at this moment. You know, we don't know what the future holds, but for now, you know, you have overcome this obstacle and just move forward and go and thrive.